What if I told you there is a temple in this world with treasures worth trillions of dollars? What if I told you that in this temple is a secret vault that had the power to end the world as we know it? What if I told you that in this same temple were divine beings that were half human and half serpent? Sounds unbelievable? Welcome back to Mysteries and Facts, and today we will be taking a look at the mysterious Padmanabhaswamy Temple. In Tiruvananthapuram, Kerala, you would find a Hindu temple that's bound to leave you in awe. It's one of sheer beauty and grandeur. There are fewer temples in India and the world that can compare to it. The architecture of the temple is simply breathtaking, and is a fusion of the Chera and Dravidian building styles, which are both from the southern part of India. It features a 16th century gopura, as well as very high walls in its design and structure. Although historians are divided on the history of the Padmanabhaswamy Temple, many believe that its origin can be traced as far back as the 8th century. Many however agree that the temple that we see today was renovated by Travancore Maharaja Martandavarma in the 18th century and is managed by the Travancore royal family descendants. This is done through a trust, so that no one person at any point in time can mismanage the temple. Not many temples are managed this way, which makes the management of the Padmanabhaswamy Temple unique among the many other factors we will be discussing today. India is known to be home to many Hindu temples. Most of these temples are shrouded in mystery, but very few compared to the Padmanabhaswamy Temple. The existence of the temple is so influential that the name given to the capital city of Kerala, Tiruvananthapuram, is derived from the temple. Breaking down the name of the capital city, Tiru, Ananta, and Puram roughly translated as sacred abode of Lord Ananta Padmanabha. The Padmanabhaswamy Temple is first mentioned in the ancient texts of Tamil literature. It is one of the 108 Hindu temples dedicated to Lord Vishnu. In the temple, you will find a statue of Lord Vishnu reclining on the hooded serpent Anantha. For those unfamiliar with Lord Vishnu, he is one of the major deities of Hinduism, often depicted with 4 arms, holding a conch shell, a discus, a mace, and a lotus flower. He maintains the balance between good and evil and protects the world from destruction. If you are wondering why the city is called the sacred abode of Lord Anantha Padmanabha, when it's dedicated to Lord Vishnu, the reason is simple. Lord Vishnu is known to have many avatars or forms, and Lord Anantha Padmanabha is one of them. In fact, in this temple, you will find a majestic reclining form of Vishnu on the king of serpents, Sheshanag, with Brahma emerging from the lotus from his stomach, and his hand on a Shivling. Devotees can only see this form through a window and nothing else. The Padmanabhaswamy Temple is also considered one of the richest and wealthiest temples in India. It receives donations from all over the state and sometimes from individuals and groups that are not even in the state at all. Although it has received significant and large amounts of donations from all who worship there over the centuries, even to this day, most of the riches of the temple are hidden from plain sight. The temple is believed to have vaults containing riches beyond one's wildest imagination. The temple is said to contain 6 huge secret nilavara, or vaults, under its sanctorum. The vaults have remained sealed for years, because it was believed that evil things will happen once they are opened, without the appropriate spiritual preparations and individuals at the helm of affairs. In June 2011, however, a retired IPS officer named Sundarajan thought it will be best to investigate the vaults in spite of these beliefs. He petitioned the Supreme Court of India, which eventually led to an agreement to search the vaults. They began their search of the sanctorum, where the vaults were, on the 30th of June, 2011. Their search revealed 6 chambers which they named alphabetically, that is, A, B, C, D, E, and F. Each of these chambers had doors made of iron, that had a limited opening range. Behind these doors were vaults. Right there, they knew getting into these vaults was going to be no mean feat. They had to go through 5 mega locks, which were meant to keep the contents of the vault from prying eyes. In each of these, they discovered ridiculous and unbelievable amounts of treasure, including gold, diamonds, and other precious gems and stones. They also found statues and thrones made of precious metals, which they estimated to be worth at least rupees 1 lakh crore. That's roughly $1 trillion rupees, which is equal to approximately $22 billion at the time. Sounds unbelievable? That a temple could have that much wealth sitting around? But it's true. Their findings included golden statues of Mahavishnu, studded with diamonds and precious stones. These were at least 4 feet high and 3 feet wide. In addition to all these, there was a throne that was large enough to accommodate the 18-foot deity. You can imagine how large. There were also gold coins from the Roman Empire, and many others that were not necessarily revealed to the public. And these were just from vaults A, C, D, E and F. Vault B was never really opened. Not that they didn't try, but they couldn't. But why? To understand this, we must take a step back into history, and some Hindu beliefs. The sanctorum where the vaults are, have always had scary stories surrounding them. Vault B had the scariest and most ominous of these stories. The devotees to the temple believed that the particular vault was most connected to Lord Padmanabhaswamy, and opening it would only bring them misfortune. Aside from being the vault most connected to Padmanabhaswamy, it is believed that the vault was guarded by some supernatural divinities, including serpents. It is believed that these serpents, and all the divinities that guard the vault, won't take it too kindly to anyone attempting to go in, which could lead to some bad omen and potentially, the end of the world. Sundarajan is not the first person to have attempted to go into the vaults. It is said that centuries ago, the management of the temple had tried to go into Nilavara B, or Vault B. They were however stopped in their tracks, when they heard weird and unfathomable noises. They could swear they heard sounds of waves which were as mysterious as they were scary, especially given there was no way there could be water underneath the temple where the sanctorum was. The ancient priests had attempted to open the vault and use its riches to save the country, during an ongoing famine that had swept the land in their time. It was not for selfish gain or anything of that sort, yet the doors didn't open. They believed that the sounds of rushing water or waves they heard was from the Arabian Sea. Despite their good intentions, no one told them to reconsider their decision, and the sanctorum was left untouched with no one attempting to go in there. At least, until the 1930s, when some thieves attempted to break into the vault. I mean, stealing is bad, and you shouldn't steal from anyone, but, how do you have the courage to go into a Hindu temple and attempt to steal without fearing repercussions, especially the one shrouded in mystery with lots of warnings? Well, whatever the case, they learnt the hard way. No sooner were they in the sanctorum, did they find snakes emerging from the vaults towards them. Needless to say, they didn't make it out alive. But, what's the explanation for all these mysterious happenings? It's believed that, the ancient saints sealed the entrance of the chamber by chanting a powerful Nagapasa mantra, which is a powerful technique for protecting valuable treasures with the help of serpents or nagas. The Nagapasa mantra can only be broken by sadhus or a priest with an accurate understanding of the Garuda mantra. Currently, it's believed there are no one capable of doing so. Trying to enter the vault without using this means could spell doom for the one who opens it, the city where the temple is located, and potentially the whole world at large. Some also say that, anyone who opens the vault will be cursed, or face vengeance from the divine being beyond the door of the vault. The officials of the temple also believe that using man-made techniques instead of ways rooted in the divine could lead to major catastrophes and great retribution. Despite these stories and warnings, they still attempted to open the vault in 2011. Once they started, they soon realized that, unlocking Vault B was not going to be as simple as the other vaults they had opened. For instance, to open Vault A, they had to open an iron grill and a heavy wooden door. They then removed a granite slab from the floor which exposed 5 or 6 steps and led them to a dark room, with untold treasures. It took 12 days to take the items out, and take inventory of them. When it came to Vault B, however, the situation was not so simple. In fact, Vault B was heavily protected compared to the other vaults they had encountered in the sanctorum. It had 2 antechambers leading to the main vault and carvings of a serpent and a yakshi. Yakshis are a class of female nature spirits in Hindu mythology. If anything, this should have served as a warning to the appointed committee members and their team, but they still proceeded. If you are enjoying this video, and haven't hit the like and subscribe buttons already, this will be a good time to do so. Coming back, they opened a metal grill door to the vault, and discovered a sturdy wooden door just behind it. They opened this and encountered a third door, but unlike the other vaults such as Vault A, it was not a granite slab, or something they could handle themselves. Instead, it was a door made of iron that had been jammed shut. They couldn't get through. The door had no nuts, bolts or even latches and was just a plain chunk of steel. It's believed that this was the work of Siddhapura Sas, who lived during the reign of King Marthandavarma in the 16th century. This reminded them of all they had heard about Vault B. Regardless, they tried to get a locksmith to come work on opening it, but before he could arrive in mid-July, the Travancore royal family managed to get a court injunction asking the committee and their team to halt their operations. The family and devotees of the temple had feared what might happen if they actually succeeded in opening it. They insisted that the vault could only be opened by supernatural and not natural means. Vedic astrologers tried chanting the Garuda mantra, but nothing happened. In 2020, another petition was filed in the Supreme Court of India, for a thorough assessment of the wealth and change of management of the temple. Remember, I mentioned that the Travancore royal family was in charge? Some people wanted that to change, but the family won the fight and remained the sole authority over the management of the temple. With their authority in place, they refused to have Vault be opened. But where did all the treasures and riches in these vaults come from? Imagine accumulating wealth over several dynasties, and storing it without touching, or spending it. That's exactly what happened with the donations received for Lord Vishnu. Over the centuries, the Padmanabhaswamy Temple existed. It survived various dynasties such as that of the Cheras, the Pandavas, the Travancore royal family, the Kolathiris, the Pallavas, the Cholas and many others. Accumulating wealth over these dynasties, without spending them is bound to leave anyone wealthy, and very rich, much less a temple. In fact, in several extant Hindu texts, the Padmanabhaswamy Temple has been referred to as the Golden Temple due to the unimaginable wealth it was thought to have. To put the wealth of the temple in perspective, the treasures found in it are rumored to be worth more than the wealth of the British crown jewels, the Nizam of Hyderabad, and the wealth of the Mughals put together. Some believe that Vault B alone has trillions of dollars worth of treasury in it, which is enough to pay off all of India's debt. It's wild just thinking about it. Since their opening, Vaults C, D, E, and F have been in the custody of the temple priests, who have reopened them at least 8 more times over the years. They did this to take out some of their contents for special ceremonial occasions. 2 more vaults were subsequently found, and designated letters G and H. These vaults were basically forgotten cellars that were brought to light once the searches began. They were eventually opened, and were said to contain great riches and valuables as well. Does that mean Vault B has never been opened? Reviewing the temple records, there's some documented evidence that shows that Vault B might have been opened 2 times in 1990 and then 5 times in 2002. But this leaves us confused. Who opened it, and how did they open it, and why? We may never know. For now, all we can do is listen to what sounds like rushing waters or hisses being made by snakes from our side of the door, but no living person in the entire world knows what's there. But do tell me, do you think opening the first 5 did release some calamity upon the world, such as the disasters we see today? Should we find a priest and find out what's in the vaults? Or should we simply ignore the warnings and go ahead and open the vault? Share your thoughts with me in the comments section. And while you are at it, do not forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more. Thanks for staying with us. See you in the next video.